I want to talk a little bit about dimensions of reality, which might kind of be a little out there for some people. But mostly because, when we talk about energy stuff, a lot of people get the impression, or they kind of have the belief, that this is really kind of spirituality. Maybe it's just like witchcraft, or it's Buddhism, or, there's so many systems in the world that have recognized and tapped into the power of the energy field. And because it's invisible stuff, right, it's easy to kind of spiritualize it. And I don't think it's unspiritual, right? I don't really think any part of us is unspiritual. Like, at our base, the most important part of us is invisible and is spiritual. And I think the more we attend to that, the more that we step into that, the more our life lines up the way we want. But when you're just talking about sort of your person in your energy field, it's not about spirituality. It's about your physical presence. Your energy is what makes up your whole physical body, and it's what makes up your emotional, psychological body as well. And one really cool way to think about it is that it's just a higher dimension of yourself. So most, physicists, scientists today believe that reality is best understood with sort of parallel universes or different dimensions of reality. So, we understand that. We know that a line is one dimension. It's, 2 points joined together is one dimension. You learn this in geometry. If you go in a different direction, say you go up, so now you have 2 dimensions, right? You have across and up, length and height. And then if you go in the other direction that we really experience day to day, we have width, right? Now you have a 3-dimensional object. Your physical body is a 3-dimensional object. You have length, width, and height. The 4th dimension that we experience all the time is time, right? So your person isn't really just this body right now. It's you, a being over time. So from the moment of your conception to the moment of your demise, this whole length of time, who you are from when you're a tiny baby to when you're hopefully a nice old elderly person, right, is you. You're kind of more of a process than a person, right, than a thing. So this moment right now is a cross section of me in the 4th dimension. This is how I look now at 45. In this moment in May in 2021, or 2021, that's the year it is. But this is not all of me. I was 4 at one time, and hopefully I'll be 85, and those will be different versions of me across time. But that whole package is me. If you talk about my life after I die, who was Nicole, you'll think about all of that together. We know that when we talk about people. Now, the 5th dimension gets a little kind of crazier. The 5th dimension is not just you in this linear timeline. It's all of the possibilities that you could ever live out, ever have, ever be in your life of you from every moment that you're living. So the 5th dimension is every possibility of you. So this is a bigger version of you, but those possibilities of who you might have been are just as real as who you chose to be. It's all you. It's all kind of, that's you. It's hard to draw the 5th dimension because we only know how to work in 3 dimensions. We only see these 3 dimensions around us. So when we try to describe the 5th dimension, it gets a little crazy. And this is what we're talking about when we talk about your energy system. Your energy system is you in the 5th dimension, all the possibilities of who you can be and who you are. When people talk about, chakras, we see them lined up linearly in our body, but it isn't really how they sit in us. We just can't picture it because we're thinking of 3 dimensions. But when anyone describes your chakra system, your meridian system, your energy system, your aura around you, they're just talking about fifth dimensional you. And so when we are doing these energy therapies, we can call them fifth dimensional therapies, right? We have some 3 dimensional therapies like surgery, or physical therapy, which can be really helpful, right? Especially if it's an emergency and you're in a crisis. They can save your life. But fifth dimensional therapies might look a little weird because we're dealing with things that are invisible. And here's the crazy thing. How you move in the fifth dimension is by faith. Faith is how you sort of fold the fourth dimension so you can jump from one timeline to another. So I'm on a timeline where I was abused as a child, but I don't want to be on that timeline. You can use a fifth dimensional therapy to get onto a timeline where you weren't abused as a child. You'll always experience that as linear, right? But so you'll always have the memories of these childhood experiences. You'll always remember the who, what, where, when, how, right? But you won't carry the injury of those experiences. And so you can start to live as if this stuff didn't happen. And the cool thing is you get to keep all the good stuff. You get to keep the wisdom. You get to keep knowing how strong you are. You get to keep the understanding and the empathy gained for other people when you go through suffering. You know what it's like. So when you see somebody else suffering, you know how to help. You get to keep all that good stuff. And you get to choose to let go of the stuck negative energy, the stuck trauma energy, the emotions, all of the lies, and sort of move in the fifth dimension to a whole new timeline. Now I know that's a lot. That's kind of crazy, but it's so exciting to me because in energy therapy, we're really acknowledging what science knows to be true. We're just walking in that. So